Hello everyone, welcome to another video from Fantasy Football Scout. I'm joined by Gianni. Gianni, it's been a while. How are you?
Yeah, I'm guessing everyone thought I was fired or something.
We just thought you were doing really badly. So, that's what happens when, people just disappear. Although, to be fair, that's not really you, is it?
If you had watched me last season, mate, you'd know I'm here every week despite the ranks. I think at this point last season, I was probably on, I don't know, 2 million and I was still showing up every Wednesday.
Well, it's been a bit difficult because it's been midweek games. So it's hard to do a team reveal when you've got midweek games because the games are sort of in progress and it's kind of a bit pointless. Then you
Yeah.
went off to Qatar, didn't you?
I did. I was there for a week, so limited access to internet and stuff like that. So yeah, nice to be back. And fortunately, I think I missed a couple of weeks where I had a couple of massive red arrows. So it's nice to be back off a small green.
Yeah, because I think you had a high of about 49k, and then everything went wrong for a bit, but you've gradually
Yeah.
been creeping back up into the top 100k. So you happy with how
Yeah.
things are going at the moment?
Yeah, just before I left doing these vids, I think I had 3 weeks at around sort of 40 to 60k or 40 to 70k. And then I went out to like 200 and then I think a 19 or 175, 125 and now I'm back around 100.
Mm.
So yeah, it's all right. It's not been a brilliant start to the festive period, but it's my team now looks like it's in good shape and I'm hoping we don't get a huge amount of postponements and that we can actually do a tiny little bit of planning,
I
that thing
know.
called planning that we've not done forever. That'd be nice.
It's difficult with these videos, isn't it? And trying to advise people on who to buy and who to sell. And it's like, well, kind of just buy someone who's going to play and not get COVID. It's like, yeah, but you can't. It's not exactly advice, is it? Because it's just completely all in there. But we'll talk about
Yeah.
your team, how you got on last week, and your plans going forward in just a sec. Before we do that, with the return of Gianni comes the return of Fantasy 5. Great complimentary game to play alongside FPL. I'm sure most of you know what it is by now, and hopefully put your teams in each week. If you don't, it is a free game to play. Big cash prizes to be won, £10,000 potentially each week. Even if you don't win one week, there's a range of monthly and seasonal prizes. You can set up mini leagues and challenge your friends. And we've got a Fantasy Football Scout mini league going at the moment. So yeah, keep your eyes on the articles if you're interested in seeing how we're all getting on. It's quite funny, like Chris is involved in that and Ted and kind of all different names. And we're all finding it quite difficult to score points, but I do Fantasy 5 every week. I really like it. The idea of Fantasy 5 is that you pick one player from 5 selected matches and they have a points target to reach, which is the same as like fantasy football, minus bonus points. And if they reach that target, you kind of get a tick next to their name. And if you get all 5 right, you win 10 grand. Easy. But it's really not easy. But it feels like it should be easy, but it's not easy. But yeah, as it's free, it's a great game to play. So I recommend you check it out. The link's in the description below. And if you are interested, Gianni and I will be doing our picks at the end of this video for you as well. Right, let's talk about last week though. Let's talk about your team. So you've got 66 points in a difficult week for a lot of people. Well, it's a difficult week for a lot of people, but I think the engaged people came out of it sort of relatively unscathed, I'd say. You had Ramsdale in goal with 2, Trent with 7. Your Chelsea double up came through. James and Alonso 6 and 9. Big man Cancelo 18 points. Reguilon came off the bench 1 point. Salah captain Salah blank 4 points. Phil Foden on the naughty step with 0. Jota with 7. Saka with 7. And the kind of the bandwagon of last week, Lacazette. With just the 1 assist and a pretty dodgy assist as well, I've got to say. So yeah, happy with that. 6 points, Green Arrow.
Yeah, I mean,
Taking up.
I thought I was going into the game week with. I knew it'd be very tight to get 11 men out, and it turns out I got 10. I mean, I kind of count it as 9 because Reguilon got 4 minutes at the end or whatever it was. But the players that did play kind of delivered, other than Salah and obviously Reguilon. So returns all over the place on Ramsdale, but Ramsdale's just been amazing, hasn't he? He's allowed a couple of blanks. I guess the only real wins, like you look at the players that delivered big points, and it's your Cancelos, your Trents, and everyone has them, so you kind of don't even consider them. But I was delighted with Alonso with the 9 points. That was nice. He feels like a bit of a differential, saying that he's one on the chopping block. So gutted Foden didn't play because I do think that's a game where Foden gets points. But obviously, if you decide to go to a nightclub during COVID at the back of a Leeds game with your mate Jack, you're probably going to be on the naughty step from Pep. And then it was nice to see Saka and Lacazette get some points. Nice little combination. Would have preferred a Martinelli, the more explosive option. Was absolutely devastated to see Smith Rowe points for the second week in a row. Smith Rowe coming off the bench, getting 15 minutes, 20 minutes, but still scoring goals. That's just what he's doing right now, but he can't get in the 11. So I'm fairly happy that I've got a Saka over a Smith Rowe. But yeah, nice points. Look, my big tip a few weeks back going into the festive season was Jota and Foden. Like Foden, yeah, but Jota's just scoring every game. So if you don't have Jota in your team, it still applies. Like,
does anyone not have Jota at the moment?
I think now they probably all do. But going 3-4 weeks ago, I've been sent a lot of DMs of people saying thank you for pointing us in that direction. And I know everyone was going, all content creators were going, get Jota. It's just a gift, isn't he? I'd say he's in sort of the top 3-4 FPL players of the season so far. So that was a good-ish week. I took a 4-point hit again. I'm hoping I don't need to take too many hits moving forward now.
I think the problem with Jota is he kind of makes that spot a little bit redundant and a bit boring, and it's the same with, you know, at least we're going to see Salah going off to the African Cup of Nations, which I think is going to mean some people stick with him and just ride it out. Other people are going to switch to a premium mid, maybe Fernandes or De Bruyne coming in. Others might spread the funds around their team and, you know, not have an easy route to get him back. But I mean, Trent and Jota are just so highly owned now and delivering each week. There's like no way you're gonna abandon them. And when you combine that with like Reece James, Ramsdale, Cancelo, you know, suddenly we've got sort of half of our squad or over half of our squad, which we can't really touch. And it kind of, I don't know, it means that like players like Saka and Lacazette and Reguilon, these kind of differential picks, have to deliver because we've only got less amount of players to do it. So
if we all had a Martinelli, mate, we'd be absolutely flying.
I know. Well, I'm not here to talk about my team. It's your stream.
I want to just give a shout out because we've not spoken for ages. Like when you speak to someone on a weekly basis about FPL, as we do, you become effectively rivals, right? You're speaking about, I'm speaking about my team. You always talk about yours, certainly off air. And it's like, I really want to beat Az this season or whatever. But genuinely, I knew your rank going into like this sort of festive period, and I saw you had Martinelli. I celebrated those goals. One, because I knew my OR wouldn't slip because of it, because he was so lowly owned. But two, I was like, so delighted for you. Like, you've got a genuine shot of a worldy finish this season, and I think you'll get there. And you've been brilliant so far, and I'm delighted for you, mate. You're going to win FPL one day.
Wow. I definitely won't. It's nice with Martinelli, you know. But at the same time, it also things have to kind of fall in place for something like that to happen. Like I had a spot for a sub 5-5 midfielder. You know, that's just how my team was set up with Mbomo's game getting called off. I needed a bit of extra money for Foden. And yeah, it just kind of worked out. And we saw other people moving for like Jacob Ramsey, for example, who I think is a really good pick at 4-5. And you know, I like that kind of 5 million bracket, having someone who's not just a complete bench fodder and can actually come in your team and do something. And Aubameyang had his ban, and Martinelli had got his run. You know, sometimes the stars just align, and it all kind of works. But yeah, his 2 goals against Leeds was, you know, it's one of those like, this is why I just think it's why we play FPL, right? You play FPL to bring in a player like that. He gets 2 goals, and you remember it for forever. Like you know, he'd probably be my wall at the end of the season.
That pick, mate, will inspire many going into the next few transfers, hopefully, where it's like you don't have to just look at players that are 10% plus owned. Like, there are gems out there. You've shown that. And those that got Jacob Ramsey, same again, right? There's a few examples. So yeah, think outside the box, team. Hasn't always got to be the template picks.
Exactly. I just hope it, like, people get us obviously still so beaten up by that Havertz captain pick, and I just want to remind people that okay, you get there's bad things that happen. I mean, bad things. I've made bad decisions this week. Mopay, switching my premium forwards. You know, all these aren't good decisions, but you just need to get one right, and it kind of balances out the bad one. So don't lose faith in your own like hunches and gut feeling just because you've had a bad experience. That's my advice. All right, yeah. So yeah, I mean, you must be going back to your team. I mean, the Chelsea double up finally coming through for you. Alonso with max bonus. You got lucky with him a week before as well. He went off and then they conceded.
He's so rubbish. He shouldn't be playing 90. Like if Hudson-Odoi hadn't got COVID, I think we would have seen him left back in that game. But yeah, I mean, got the assist. Well, got the 3 bonus because he nearly got the assist for Pulisic at the end of the Wolves game. That's what led him to 3 bonus. I was watching the BPS, and I think there's about 15, 20 minutes left of the game, and Alonso was well outside the top three, and then he puts in Pulisic for that big chance, and he goes up to max bonus. So yeah, that helps. But long term, it will definitely be a sell. Chelsea, I'd be very surprised if Alonso is even. If there's a buyer, he'll be gone in January. I think we'll replace him. I think I could see Luca Dean come into Chelsea all day long. If Rafa's still at Everton, Luca Dean becomes Chelsea as the backup, and Alonso goes. I don't think we'll see him long term in a blue shirt.
I think it's purely just down to the lack of competition, isn't it? That means he's been playing. I mean, Saul played there a little bit and was absolutely hopeless, and he's kind of about the only player that could do a worse job than. Than I don't know. Maybe it's a bit harsh. I mean, Tuchel described him as the specialist in that position, hasn't he? But you think he could be off in Jan if someone comes?
If there's a replacement. I think we tried selling him in the summer. There was talk of Emerson and Alonso going this summer, but that wasn't the replacement. It's hard. We need to buy a very good left back at Chelsea that's still happy to play second fiddle to Chilwell. But one thing you do know is at Chelsea, you will get a ton of games because one, Tuchel rotates, and two, Chelsea play more games than most other teams, right? So there'll be injuries and there'll be rotation. So Luca Dean looks like the obvious replacement, but if not him, possibly someone else. And if we don't replace Alonso, then of course he stays and we'll get some minutes when Chilwell's injured. But he's definitely not a favourite of Tuchel. And there was talk that even Hudson-Odoi would get a shot at left wing back if he didn't get COVID.
Clearly not a favourite of yours either.
Yeah.
Exactly. He's on the chopping block for you then, is he?
He is. I mean, I'll keep him for the next couple of fixtures because we think he was going to start and because they're okay, Aston Villa and Brighton. But then after that, you've got Liverpool, City, Tottenham, you've got the Club World Cup. There's reasons to be selling Alonso, but for now he gets the next couple. And I'd love some returns, and I still think he can get them attacking returns against Villa and Brighton. He's still a good FPL option when he plays. As a footballer, though, he's so frustrating.
Because your team's interesting. Because looking at this lineup, I mean, you talk about big at the back.
Yeah.
I mean, you have gone big at the back. I mean, Trent, James, Alonso, Cancelo, and Reguilon. We'll look at your team going ahead in a bit, and you've gone four at the back. But is that another reason why you think Alonso's got to go? Are you looking to use that money elsewhere? I mean, you've got Bowen on the bench, you've got Josh King. I think they're both good options as well. So you've got a squad here.
Yeah, and I don't actually need the money at the moment. So I've got 2.8 million in the bank. So to sell Alonso, I don't necessarily have to downgrade him. Like when I do eventually sell, I'm very happy to be ahead of the curve with Reguilon. I think there's going to be a lot of FPL managers that want Reguilon, knowing that they could have some favourable doubles coming up as well, Spurs, knowing that now Sessegnon's injured and Reguilon is back fit. Although I don't expect Reguilon to start 26th and 28th of December. He's never starting twice in 3 days, surely, knowing he's been out for a while. I don't think Conte does that to him, and he asks a lot of his wing-backs. We know that.
But Sessegnon's injured, though.
Yeah, he is. But we could see Matt Doherty play left back, or left wing back, or we could see Ben Davies play there, but then who plays left centre back? I just can't imagine asking Reguilon to play twice in 3 days, knowing that position requires more running than any other. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he plays 60 and 60. I'd take that.
We've seen him knackered as well. Like he's. I think he. You're right. They have to put a shift in those wing backs, and he's blowing in the games that I've seen. And you kind of think, okay, well, Conte is going to work on his fitness and get it up. It hasn't been able to because he's been injured as well. So you could well be right. We might see his minutes managed. Maybe he does start both, but gets subbed off.
I'd love that. He might get subbed off before a goal, for a clean sheet point. I mean, he rotated his fullbacks a lot at Inter because he asked so much of them. But yeah, big at the back, I'm still quite liking. Like, I don't know who I'm going to replace Alonso with. Maybe someone like a Matty Cash, maybe a Dallo if he's absolutely nailed. I think he will be. But for the time being, Cancelo, Trent, James and Reguilon, I can see staying in my team. Even James in those tougher fixtures, I'll probably hold because it will be Alonso has to go. If I had just James and Alonso was, Matt Cash, I'd probably be looking to sell Reece James. But I'm probably not going to be able to use two transfers on two defenders there. It will probably just be Alonso. But for the time being, he's in my team for the next couple. But I like big at the back. These guys aren't defenders, are they? I've got 5 absolute flyers. They're all more advanced than most midfielders in the game. So you take that.
3 wing backs and a winger and a midfielder pretty much is how I describe those 5. What do you make of Chelsea? Well, I've got you. I mean, Chelsea have been pretty poor lately. I know there's been COVID problems and injuries and stuff, but it was a poor result against Everton, given the dominance that Chelsea had in that match. Against Wolves as well. Wolves were the better side in that game. What's kind of going on? The defense looks a bit shaky. The goals aren't flying in.
Thank God for Thiago Silva, because he's been an absolute rock, and outside of that, it's been a bit average. You look at the midfield injuries, and I don't want to just think of excuses, but our midfield is, like most midfields, absolutely key, right? And you lose Kovacic, he's been out for a long time. But then Kante and Jorginho have been missing games. And you just look at the middle and go, okay, now we are going to struggle, because that midfield does make Chelsea tick, especially playing the system we play. It's heavily reliant on that midfield three. And it also, that midfield three, when it's solid, allows the likes of Reece James and Alonso to really express themselves and be part of that front five. And Tuchel has said before, it's a front five, back five. That's the formation Tuchel likes to play. Not really seen that as much. Like, the fullbacks haven't been able to go be as advanced. And many will look at FPL and go, Reece James hasn't been as good. He maybe has been a little bit off the boil, but we have not seen a massive dip in his performance. What we have seen is a huge dip in Chelsea's performance. And when Chelsea aren't ticking, then Reece James isn't going to tick. Therefore, we won't get those attacking returns. So it's been frustrating. Injuries and COVID, I think they have been hit as much as anyone. I was surprised their request was turned down by the Premier League for the game at the weekend to be called off. 6 substitutes, 2 of them were goalkeepers on the bench. I definitely... City and Liverpool look head and shoulders, and then you've got Chelsea, and then you've got everyone else. Like, it looked like it was a top 3. It's now looking like a clear top 2 with Chelsea just that tier behind. I've no doubt when everyone is fit, though, they will click again.
Yeah, I mean, I think people just get used to massive hauls, don't they? So, I mean, Reece James got 13, then 21, then 7, then 12. And it's like, oh, he's just going to get double digits like every week. Yeah. And then he goes on a bit of a run, of poor scores, 1-0-0, against teams where you probably expected him to do better. Watford, West Ham, Leeds. But then, I mean, now he's back. Everton 1-1, gets 8 points in that with the assist. Wolves gets the clean sheet. And that's what, when you kind of balance it out, I still think if you've got this kind of 6 million-ish defender getting you, anywhere between 6 and 21 points sort of fairly regularly, then there's still a standout option. So he's not going anywhere from my team.
Yeah. And those attacking points will come as. Do you remember at the start of the season where he was having like 4 or 5 shots a game? Yeah, when that Chelsea 11's back up and running, we will see Reece James shooting on sight again. So we'll want him. Just to sell him, to bring him back in a few weeks' time doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, I think that the double up though is surely dead, because you think Villa, Brighton, Liverpool, City, Spurs, and then 2 blanks.
Yeah,
pretty much.
I think Alonso will be out the team as soon as Tuchel can bench him. He will. He's just not been able to. Like, he's tried Sal there, that's not worked. I think he might give Hudson-Odoi or even Pulisic some game time there. It'll be interesting to see who starts in the cup against Brentford this evening.
Yep, absolutely. Right, let's take a look at your team going into game week 19. So Ramsdale in goal, Trent, James, Cancelo, Reguilon, Salah captain, keeping the faith, don't blame you, Leeds at home, Foden, Jota, Saka, Bowens come in, and Lacazette. So yeah, fairly similar to the team that you had last week. I mean, your bench, you've got Alonso and King, but yeah, I think you're set up pretty nicely, I think, going forward.
Yeah, the only slight issue is heavily reliant on 4 teams. Like, should there be postponements? I know that we've not had the sort of rumours and the mutterings we've had on perhaps previous game weeks, but over this next few games, should Chelsea, where I've got double, Liverpool triple, Arsenal triple, City double, like, should those teams be affected? It's like, okay, that's 3 players out. So I'm heavily reliant on those 4 teams, but at the same time, these 4 teams are doing well, and they've other than Chelsea, got good fixtures. So yeah, I like the lineup this week. Like, I fancy City against Leicester to score fairly big. I definitely fancy Liverpool to score big against Leeds, and I fancy Arsenal to score pretty big against Norwich. So attacking returns, I'm hoping are due all around my team.
I mean, it's for you, Gianni. I've got to say, it's pretty solid.
Yeah, I've invested a bit more money in the bench, haven't I, Az? That's not like me.
I know, it's very solid. I mean, your kind of differential players, I guess, Reguilon, Saka, Bowen and Lacazette. It doesn't really feel like Bowen and Lacazette are differentials, because everyone seems to have them on Scout and Twitter, but I mean, they are. Their ownership is low enough for you still to benefit from them. I agree with you about Reguilon. I think you've got him. I mean, obviously you've had to put up with a load of postponements and missed games, but having him going forward, I think he's one of the standout defenders to have. The if these double game weeks kind of come into fruition in what 21 and 22, it's a good looking double game week for Spurs potentially, and the fixtures are decent. Conte's, it was a really encouraging match for them against Liverpool. Yeah. I thought, because the performance was great. They had really good tactics. Get the ball over to Son and Kane. The defence looked sort of a lot better than we'd seen before. Kept them quiet. So I really like the Reguilon shout. Any players that you're worried about not owning?
Not massively. There isn't too. I mean, as always, like Man City, if they have a Bernardo Silva that goes and scores big, or I need to check Gundogan's ownership, but they could perhaps hurt. But outside of that, there isn't too many really highly owned players. Antonio can always hurt, because despite people selling him, I'm guessing he's still sort of high 20s in ownership. But I'm not worried about that. No, and I've got Bowen. I'm not necessarily worried about Man City attack like Bernardo Silva, because I think we'll see him slightly deeper with KDB back. I guess I'm worried about Foden. I'm worried about Foden and his starts. Like I should point out, like, we don't know how long he's going to be on the naughty step. Positive signs that he did at least travel to St James's Park. If Pep was really going to blacklist him and Grealish, they perhaps wouldn't have made the matchday squad. Instead, he decided to make them travel, which is probably more of a punishment, travel and sit on the bench. But I'm hoping that was just for the one game. The fear is that Pep says, no, I'm leaving you out for a couple. But I do think he probably does play against Leicester, because also knowing post-Newcastle match, Pep actually said, wasn't that impressed with my team. That front three of, was it Sterling, Jesus, and Mahrez. Who else was in it? Mahrez didn't really click. Foden gets in that best 11 all day long. And FPL managers ask me every week, should I sell Foden or should I buy Foden, depending on where he's gone the previous week. And I've had him since game week 5, 6, or maybe it was at game week 8. But even when he got injured, I didn't sell Foden. Like, Foden's not going anywhere from my team unless I know he's out for a while. So my recommendation is, when Foden does play for Man City and he's in that starting 11, he's probably the best FPL midfielder or forward in that team when he's in the 11. Cancelo's the best in the team, sure. But outside of that, I'd take Foden over Bilva all day long. And I'd probably take him over KDB in a way. If they're the same price, it would be a toss of a coin. So he's that good. He's staying on my team.
Well, KDB is an interesting one, because your team is very much one premium, money all over the place. Rest of the squad and on your bench. Obviously, we're going to see the Cup of Nations come, and we'll talk more closer to the time about what your plans are for Salah. But I do wonder if De Bruyne is going to become more of a factor now, because we know what he's capable of. It's 90 minutes for him now in a row, which is good and encouraging. Hopefully we can start seeing some more premium options emerge, because at the moment it's just Salah and no one. The bigger mission for me in your side is no Ronaldo. I think he's the one that can hurt you the most going forward.
I forgot to mention Ronaldo.
I think a lot of people have kind of forgotten that he's there, and that United have, before this COVID stuff, they were starting to show some early promises that they were getting stronger. He got the goal against Norwich, 9 points, and he's still got a really good run. Newcastle, Burnley, Wolves, Villa. This is a decent return. His ownership's massively decreased. He was a premium asset without a game, so I can see why people have got rid of him. I've kept the faith.
Oh, did you?
I did.
I sold him for that first COVID game and bought in Lukaku. And then Lukaku had COVID, and I went Lukaku over Watkins, and then I've gone Lukaku, Lacazette. But I still kind of do have that premium forward. I know Lacazette isn't it on paper, but knowing I've got Lacazette plus 2.8 million in the bank, I don't think that will quite get me to Ronaldo. It won't, but it will get me fairly close. So I've still got that position covered if I need to with the money in the bank, but it means downgrading a Saka or whoever.
Yeah. What about like a Son or a Kane? Any plans for a Spurs attacker?
I mean, that's the other option. If I do go for Ronaldo, if I turn Lacazette into Ronaldo and downgrade the midfielder, I'm completely ruling out Spurs attack. However, I might want Spurs attack, so it will probably be either Son or Ronaldo that I beeline for in a week or two. And I can convert Saka into Son if I downgrade Lacazette, for example. My two Arsenal players are the ones that I'm looking to move on in a couple of weeks. But for Norwich away and then possibly for Wolves at home, the other two games I might sit with Arsenal, but then they go Man City, Tottenham, and they might not have the best double game weeks. So I'm looking at those Arsenal players and thinking they're the ones that I'll probably convert into Spurs or Man United players. I just don't quite know if I do it next week ahead of Wolves or if I give them one more game. I think Wolves are very good and solid at the back. I don't necessarily know if I want those Arsenal players then, but I definitely want them this weekend for Norwich.
Yep. And final question, you got Salah captain. I'm guessing no plans to take the armband off him against Leeds at home.
No, I can't even.
Manager, wouldn't it?
I can't even pretend that I'm considering anyone else. Like last week, I felt like that might have been the week to go against Salah. And I was very close last week at looking at both Arsenal and Man City assets. And actually, I was very close on Foden captain. That wouldn't have worked.
So was I.
My vice, well, yeah.
Well, my vice would have been Smith Rowe, who weirdly enough got more points than Salah. So actually captaining the player who didn't play would have been the better move for me. It's funny how it works out like that sometimes.
It's a weird one, isn't it? I mean, because we had the Salah rumours as well. I was thinking I need Arsenal covered because we know they've actually got a game because it's happening in a couple of hours and we didn't know Man City or Liverpool would be on. But no, it's Leeds. That could be a home or away fixture. It's Leeds. They are conceding goals for fun at the moment. So I expect Salah and Jota to have some big returns. The only player I would look outside of Salah, and I'm not doing this, would be Jota. It would be Leeds attack, Liverpool attack again. So yeah, captaincy this week is effective ownership is going to be verging on 200, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, we saw it dip a little bit in the Spurs game. I think it was like 188, which is crazy that that's now like a dip because it's going to be right back up to 198. And you know, I'm looking forward to him going.
Yeah, I can't wait to sell him.
I know. I love Salah. I think he's best player in the world at the moment, like by far. Just so. I mean, Spurs, kept him quiet. It's the first time I've seen him like that all season, really. Yeah. But yeah, I think for FPL wise, it's going to be, and the fact it's not an injury as well. You don't want to see a player get injured and have to take him out. The fact he's going off and playing in such an important competition means that you can sort of sell him and not have to feel guilty about.
We don't know when he's leaving, do we? Az? It's going to be hard to plan. I guess we'll know, so we'll know we can either sell him or bench him. But I'm very, very unlikely to go, he can sit on my bench for 4 weeks. That's not me. I'm going to go, I'm making the most out of that money and buying an exciting player that perhaps not many have got. Rashford, I don't know, KDB, who knows? But,
anyone. The choice is the what is our oyster with him?
Captaincy will be so much fun. Like I can see Salah going and Son's ownership just going sky high, but then captaincy will be spread because we won't all necessarily give Son the armband. So it's going to be really fun when that happens. One thing we will always caveat it with though is make sure you know how you're getting him back. So if you are spreading the funds, that's going to be troublesome. For me, it will just be, I'll happily keep money in the bank if I need to, so I can bring him back at the drop of a hat.
That's why for me, I think De Bruyne coming back is so good. Because if I can just do Salah to De Bruyne, leave the money in the bank and then switch him back out, that's the kind of dream. I'm going to soundbite that, by the way, of you saying it's going to be fun with the captaincy, because I think you're forgetting how horrible the captaincy actually is when you don't have someone like Salah every week.
Yeah, it makes watching games so much more enjoyable when it doesn't matter if he blanks or returns, we're all in the same boat.
It really does. Great, so that's your team covered. Let's move over to Fantasy 5 before we finish. So we've got 5 fixtures this week to pick a player from. We've got Burnley v Everton, Norwich Arsenal, West Ham Southampton, Villa Chelsea and Brighton Brentford. Burnley Everton's the first one. Oh, I mean, I don't want to watch this game on Boxing Day. It's going to be low scoring, isn't it? You've got to think.
Yeah, I always fancy Burnley at home. I'm surprised there's been loads of talk about maybe jumping on Everton's because their fixtures come good. Have you watched Rafa's Everton in recent weeks? Swerve for me. Like in FPL, I'm talking. For this fixture, I'd still go with Burnley over Everton. They're rubbish.
Brownhill, 4.5.
Yeah, we saw pre-season, didn't we, and get a couple of assists. I don't think he's had an assist yet, but he might, he might pop up with that assist out of nowhere. He got a couple. Has he been pre-season.
Playing? I think he might even have not been starting the last couple of games.
I don't know. I saw him a couple of weeks ago, and he had played 90 every week, but maybe in the last couple he's not.
Well, he's got.
I'll check now.
I mean, he's got 4.5. He's got only got to get 4.5. Surely he can. West Ham United.
Yeah, he's played 90 every single game week, other than the last game week he played 19 minutes. So he came off the bench, and the first game week he played 11. But other than that, he's been nailed.
He's in. He's going to return. I can see it.
0 goals, 0 assists, and a couple of yellow cards, I think.
Yeah, well, this is it. This is his time. He's going to deliver on all his pre-season promise. Okay, second game is Norwich Arsenal. So surely there's going to be more goals in
That's
this
fun.
one.
Yeah.
I mean, the Arsenal midfield looks good. We've got Martinelli 8-5, Odegaard 8-5, Smith Rowe 8-5, so nothing separating
Saka?
them. Saka is, I imagine he's a little bit more. Where is he? He is 8-5, all 8-5.
They're all 8-5, that Fab 4. And
Fab
Lacazette?
4. Lacazette is 8-5. They have gone, just everyone sort of similarly even to kind of score. Defence, Norwich are really poor attacking wise. You've got Tierney 6-5. Then like I said, Ben White, Gabriel 6-5 as well. I guess it's Tierney or it's one of the midfield, I think, for Arsenal.
I feel like this should be a Martinelli pick,
I'm
because
tempted.
let's just keep it going, Martinelli. Seeing as we were both liked him a lot.
Played like 5 games in a row, missed out in the cup, got a rest. I think he came off the bench, but I think he should start this one. West Ham and Southampton next. You've got Antonio 8-5. Some rumours he's got COVID. I don't know if you saw those today.
Yeah. Rumours it's possibly him and Bowen, although then many have said no, it's just Antonio.
Yeah, which is interesting. He's 8-5. Bowen's 8-5 as well. Some of the Southampton players, you've got Che Adams, Shane Long, Broya, all 6-5 as well. Then in defence, everyone's basically priced at 6-5. So defence is hard when they're 6-5 because they need to get a clean sheet and an attacking return, really. I'd say go for Bowen. I think Bowen's probably the most likely to get attacking returns in this.
And if Antonio is out, Bowen number 9.
Exactly. I will put Bowen in and then that's a very good point, actually. If Antonio is out, Bowen, very good.
Yeah.
This is why
we could see Yarmolenko 9, but I think we'll see Bowen there. And the set pieces, Bowen, yeah.
Yep. Villa Chelsea next. There's a player that I like the look of here. You've got all the strikers at 6-5, Watkins, Ings, Lukaku. And then in midfield, you've got the likes of Mount 8-5. Then it's really difficult who's going to start for Chelsea. Ziyech is 8-5, Pulisic is 8-5, Hudson-Odoi.
Mount +1, isn't it?
Yeah, you could take a punt on one of them and hope they, if Ziyech does start, for example, he's a good option, but you never really know who's going to get. Player I really like though, Jacob Ramsey 5-5.
I like that. Chelsea have been conceding loads of chances as well.
It's got to get a goal, and Gerrard is moulding him into a Gerrard number 2. So
yeah.
I think that's the play, and as you say, Chelsea have been conceding. So
make sure you pick the right Ramsey there. You are picking the one that actually plays, yeah, because there's 2 in Villa, isn't there? The same price.
Jay Ramsey, who I assume is Jacob Ramsey.
I think is it his brother that is in the same squad at the same price? We're just going to check that. I'm pretty sure. It's not his twin, is it? Have I got that completely wrong? They're both midfielders for Villa. Yeah. So there's Jacob Ramsey, and then there is Aaron Ramsey, who I think might be his brother, who is listed at 4.4 in FPL instead of 4.5 in that Villa midfield. And I've seen a few managers buying in the wrong Ramsey.
Oh my God! Imagine if Aaron Ramsey comes to Newcastle. They're talking about, from Juventus. Add even more confusion into it. The final team then is Brighton Brentford. Obviously, we're picking a Brighton player because Brighton are going to smash Brentford. I hope.
Both teams have had a nice little rest, haven't they?
They have, yeah. And God, we needed it. We've got injuries and problems. So I think Dunk's still out, which definitely does harm our clean sheet potential. Trossard's back, 8-5. He's on this.
What about our lively Lamptey?
Yeah, Lamptey's always on. Lamptey's 7-5.
Oh, okay.
On this, but I think a clean sheet and an assist in this isn't too ridiculous to think of. But yeah, all the other defenders are 6-5 and Lamptey's 7-5. So clearly, Fantasy Five have been like, Lamptey's the one. I vote we just go for him.
Yeah, he might play as a wide forward again.
Yeah, exactly.
And even if he does play wing back, he's still a wide forward.
Yep. So that's our team then. Brownhill. You see it. I love Fantasy 5. You see a team. You're like, I could pick anyone from that game. We've gone for Josh Brownhill, but his points target's small. Martinelli, Bowen, Ramsey, and Lamptey. Lovely. Locked in. I like it. Beautiful. Right, Gianni, I will let you go. Thank you for joining me. It's good to be back doing these with you. I don't know when the next one will be. Probably, would maybe do one next week?
Yeah.
Midweek games again. Bit tricky. Yeah, we'll get one in. We'll get
one in maybe between, I don't know, Boxing Day fixtures and the next round. There'll probably be a day window, won't there? Yeah. Look forward to catching up tomorrow, mate. We're together on the FPL show. Dream Team's back.
We are indeed. Yeah, it'll be fun. A nice festive episode right before Christmas and Boxing Day. So it'll be a good one.
Hoping there's no traffic on the M25 to drive home.
There almost certainly will be.
But last time I was on with you, actually, I didn't mention the traffic on the way home was terrible. So I'm guessing it was for you. We both would have been sat in the same accident, I reckon.
I don't remember.
Do you remember that?
I don't remember it being that
About
bad.
a month ago.
Yeah, I don't
Unless
remember.
you just missed it.
Yeah, I think I must have done. I don't remember getting stuck. Normally,
Mate, mine was about 40 minutes just after Heathrow.
Well,
Yeah.
hopefully. I mean, I imagine we're both going to get stuck in something tomorrow. But I've got Black Box tomorrow as well, so I can't be late.
Got to get back.
Mark's
returning, isn't he? Yeah.
He is. The returning Mark will not be happy if I'm late. Right. Pleasure as
Good
always,
stuff.
Gianni. I'll see you tomorrow.
See you, team.
Thanks,
Bye-bye.
guys. Bye.